ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون والسواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب أليم قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني فوإليه ترجعون أأتخذ من دونه آلهة إن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغني عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون ألم يروا كما أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون وإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون وآية لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها حبا فمنه يأكلون وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وأعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم أفلا يشكرون سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون وآية لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالعرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا أنطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم ألا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لطمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نعمره ننكسه في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وذللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم ير الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحييها الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم
بر محمد وآل محمد صلوات वो सलाम लिखिए हुसैन पर वो सलाम लिखिए हुसैन के बहिश्त जिसका सिला मिले वो सलाम लिखिए पर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु बोले बेटी से सिबते पयंबर बाद मेरे न रोना सकीना। बोले बेटी से सिबते पयंबर बाद मेरे न रोना सकीना। जिद ना करना मुझे याद करके माँ की गोदी में सोना सकीना। बोले बेटी से सिबते पयंबर बाद मेरे न रोना सकीना। हम बहुत दूर जाएंगे बीबी अब ना सूरत दिखाएंगे बीबी। हम बहुत दूर जाएंगे बीबी अब ना सूरत दिखाएंगे बीबी। हम अगर याद आएंगे बीबी तुम ना बेचैन होना सकीना। बोले बेटी से सिबते पयंबर बाद मेरे न रोना सकीना। हम तो सोएंगे माँ बैन मकतल बाद में मेरी तुम होगी बेकल। हम तो सोएंगे माँ बैन मकतल बाद मेरी तुम होगी बेकल। पाओगी मेरा सीना कहाँ कल खाक है अब बिछोना सकीना। बोले बेटी से सिबते पयंबर बाद मेरे न रोना सकीना। बाद मेरे तू दुखियारी होगी ईज़ा भी मेरी प्यारी को होगी। बाद मेरे तू दुखियारी होगी ईज़ा भी मेरी प्यारी को होगी। जिंदगी तुझको दुश्वार होगी तुझको है कैद होना सकीना। बोले बेटी से सिबते पयंबर बाद मेरे न रोना सकीना। लाश से मेरी जब तुम लिपट कर रोगी है मेरी जान दुख तर। लाश से मेरी जब तुम लिपट कर रोगी है मेरी जान दुख तर। कोड़े मारेगा शुमरे बदख्तर तुमको सहना है सब कुछ सकीना। बोले बेटी से सिबते पयंबर बाद मेरे न रोना सकीना और मोहम्मद
माँ कहती थी क्या क्या मना झेले होंगे माँ कहती थी क्या क्या मलाल झेले होंगे बहना नहीं बहना नहीं किससे खेले होंगे रात अंधेरी डरौना जंगल रात अंधेरी डरौना जंगल असगर में कब्र में अकेले होंगे असगर में कब्र में अकेले होंगे माँ कहती थी दुरूद है सलाम उस पे जो कहती थी सदा है सलाम उस पे जो कहती थी सदा हाय हुसैन जालिमों ने तुझे पानी न दिया हाय हुसैन सलाम पे अली अकबर ने तेरे सामने बरछ के कत्ल असगर तेरे हाथों पे हुआ हाय हुसैन है सलाम पे जो ना रहा कोई भी जनाज़े का उठाने वाला ना रहा कोई भी जनाज़े का उठाने वाला सर ज़ख्मी तेरा तीरों पे रहा हाय हुसैन सलाम पे जो कहती थी सदा हाय घोड़े दौड़ाए लईनों ने तेरे लाश पर घोड़े दौड़ाए लईनों ने तेरे लाश पर जैसे तू सीते पर ही न था हाय हुसैन सलाम पे जो जल गए खेमे छिनी चादर सामान लुटा बाज तेरी हुई हम पे ये जफा हाय हुसैन है सलाम तुझे सिंध में दीन ने इस तरह से मोती खून कानों से सकीना के बहा हाय हुसैन है सलाम पे जो कहती थी सदा हाय हुसैन जिस जगह ख़ैमाए ज़ैनब था वहाँ से रात को आती है रातों में सदा हाय हुसैन है सलाम उस पे जो उम्र भर मातम शबीर में गुजरे, उम्र भर मातम शबीर में गुजरे, कब्र से भी तेरे आएगी सदा, हाय हुसैन है सलाम उस पे जो कहती थी सदा, जालिमों ने तुझे आने न दिया, हाय हुसैन है सलाम उस पे जो एक दफा गहवर से हुसैन जो असगर को रो चले, गहवर से हुसैन जो असगर को ले, हाथों पे रख के फिदियाए दावर को ले, बादल में शाम के चहे अनवर को ले, चिल्लाई माँ को हाँ मेरे दिलबर को ले, चिल्लाई माँ कहाँ मेरे दिलबर को ले, फारिग अभी नहीं हुई अकबर के दार, कुछ रोशनी है घर में मेरे इस चिराग, कुछ रोशनी है मेरे इस चिराग, बानों के बयान से घबराए शाह, आखिर करीब फौज के आए शाह, बच्चे को रख के हाथ पे चिल्लाए शाह, यावर समझ लो जो तुम्हें समझाए शाह, यावर समझ लो जो तुम्हें समझाए शाह, कुछ तो ख्याल चाहिए नन्ही सी जान, बतलाओ क्या कसूर है इस बेजुबान, बतलाओ क्या कसूर है जुबान, ये सुन के मौला ने उठाया कमान, नाकाम सत्ता शाह ने नन्ही सी जान, मारा हुसैन चाहिए अबरू कमान, हाय हाय मिटाया बानों के नामो निशान, हाय हाय मिटाया बन के नामो निशान चिल्लाई मौत हाय ना तुझको हमारे बच्चे ने चैन चैन के हाथों पे जान बच्चे ने चैन चैन के हाथों पे जान शैन सिवाय शुक्र ज़बान से न कुछ चांद अपने तेरे ख्वाब आया पसंद गुर्बत से उठ के आपने खैमे करो लेकिन कदम न आगे उठते थे मोर लेकिन कदम न आगे को उठते थे मोर कहते थे क्या कहूँगा जो बच्चे को मांगे बानो जरूर हंसियों वाले को मां बानो जरूर हंसियों वाले को पहुंचे घर के ताए खैमाहार आई जो बानो देखे शर्माए बार गर्दन झुका के कहने लगे शायदान लो शहरबानो बन गया असगर का भी लो शहरबानो बन गया असगर का भी नासूर पड़ गया जिले बालों तेरी कमाई लुटी आज खा बालों तेरी कमाई मिली आज खा गहवारे से हुसैन जो असगर को ले चले तमस
इससे पहले कि मैं मौलाना को आज की खिताबत के लिए दावत दूं, before I invite Maulana for tonight's lecture, few quick announcements. First of all, inshallah, tonight being the Shabe Ashura, however, the majalises at this center will still continue until 12th of Muharram, Soem of Sayyid al-Shuhada alayhi salam. Inshallah, the program will start at 7:45 sharp at night. I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of all the trustees and management of Al-Noor to thank Maulana Hamza Hussaini Sahab for kindly accepting our invitation and reciting all these majalises for the last 9 nights. It's a big honor for us that he has given us time all the way coming down from the north and accepting our invitation. Alhamdulillah. I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to kindly bless him with a long and healthy Imani life, and may he continue to serve this cause of Ahlul Bayt in the future as well. Salawat wa Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Akmal Bhai, Salman Bhai, and Misam Bhai for their regular recitation. Alhamdulillah, from the day one, they have accepted our invitation despite of this extremely busy schedule. They have allotted priority to come to Al-Noor and recite Marsia at our request. I am indeed very grateful for them, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless them with a long and healthy life, inshallah, and may they continue to serve this cause in future as well. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank all the sponsors without whom this program would have not been possible. So grateful, indeed grateful, and very, very grateful, thankful to all the generous sponsors who have sponsored all these majalises. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank people who are behind the scene, all the volunteers, the management trustees, my co-trustees, who have put in all their time and effort in making this event happen. So may Allah bless their families and all. May Allah accept all their efforts towards their humble services. A special thanks to Zishan Bhai and his lovely sons, Qaim and Hassan. Both they have been here from day one. They have been reciting Nawhas. Thank you so much. Jazakallah. May Allah bless you with the most sweet voice, and may you continue to recite Nawhas and do this khidmat, inshallah. Last but not the least, I'd like to thank all the Mumineen and Muminat who have turned up night after night to this center and have benefited from this inspirational lecture of Maulana Hamza Hussaini. Thank you so much for coming and being so supportive. Despite of all the odds and some congestion at the gate, you have always been very cooperative. May Allah bless you and families, and may Allah bless you with a long and healthy Imani life, and may your children prosper on the path of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, inshallah. I would now like to request Maulana Hamza Hussaini Sahib to please come onto the lecture. But Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad Baziburan Salawat. While Maulana is coming, let me give you a quick update for tomorrow's program, inshallah. So tomorrow the program here at Al-Noor will begin at 12 noon with the Amal-e Ashura conducted by under the guidance of Maulana Hamza Hussaini Sahab, and followed by Namaz Zohar in Bajamaat, and there will be a very short majlis, and then we'll all go to Idara to attend the Julus as always. And then we'll return back to the center Al-Noor at 4 o'clock evening to have Majlis Asri Ashur Makhsus Majlis, which will again recite the Masaib of Sayyid al-Shuhada will be recited by Maulana Sahib, and then it will be followed by the Fakha Shikni. Then in the evening, the Namaz Maghribain will be on time by Jamaat. Again, Maulana will lead the namaz, and immediately after the namaz, Sham-e Ghariba Majlis will be held here. So you're all requested to please note these and kindly attend on time. Salawat wa Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.
محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
तेरे तबस्सुम ने दुश्मनों को रुला दिया ए इब्ने शब्बीर, मुस्कुरा के दुश्मनों को रुला दिया तूने ए अली असगर, मुस्कुरा के दुश्मनों को रुला दिया तूने अली असगर। फिर तेरी प्यास के एवज में वो 3 बाल का तीर, माँ तेरी रो के तड़प के बोली है मेरे अली असगर, अरे माँ तेरी रो के तड़प के बोली ए मेरे अली असगर, अरे तुझसा नन्हा सा जालिमों ने फुरात पर कर दिया नहर, तुझसा नन्हा सा जालिमों ने फुरात पर कर दिया नहर, बरज़मते अली असगर अलैहिस्सलाम बुलंदतर सलवात।
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيد الأشرف الأنبياء حبيب وحبيبنا العالمين بالقاسم المصطفى محمد صلى الله على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين، واللعن الدائم على أعدائهم أجمعين. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك، عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله عبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. Hands on hearts. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقاعدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه عرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. For the safety of the Imam of the time, please recite loud salawat by Muhammad wa ali. I've just also received the news that there was a terrorist attack on the Muslimin in Yemen, which killed many. Please one Surah Al-Fatiha for the Shuhada of Yemen and Palestine. Bismillah. So the conduct of the Ahlul Bayt over Mu'mineen, this is the lining of every good deed that we have. There's one hadith which I would like to start off with, which is from our sixth Imam, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. He says that when a person passes away from this world, there are 6 sides of that mu'min which are protected. And this mu'min has to face these 6 protections which come in front of him. Whether that is from the top of their head, either from under their feet, from their right, their left, from in front of them, or from behind. So these 6 sides are protected. What is in front of that mu'min is his fasts, or as we say, our rosé. And on his right is his salat. On his left is his zakat and his expenditures that he has in this life. And the one behind him is his hajj. The thing that is underneath his feet that is protecting him is his good deeds that he has in this world, his a'mal. And the one that is above the head that protects all of them, when it will be asked that who are you? And the reply will come, Ana al-wilayatu li Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. The reply will come that I am from the wilayat of the household of the Prophet's family, Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So all of these 6 sides will be surrounded within the grave. At times we think that in this world it's the jihad that we have to go after, but this is not actually fighting physically, but spiritually in this world, it needs to be concentrated on more. So as we get them 6 points in our grave, not like good points, but those 6 sides that we are surrounded within the grave, we are surrounded with those same 6 sides in this world also. So, for example, our salat protects us from our right side, and zakat protects from the left side. And is narrated in the riwayat that our sawm or our fasts, our rosé that we keep, they protect us from in front of us. And in the narration it is mentioned, al-sawm jannatu, that it's like a bumper of a car that comes from in front and it protects you. As we mentioned, Hajj protects the difficulties that come from behind us. All those good deeds that we have done, that Hajj protects us from those. I'll explain inshallah. I know it may sound like, how are these actions protecting us from good deeds in this world. Aren't good deeds supposed to be with us? So the wilayat protects all of those difficulties that we faced in this world, but will appear from above. I mentioned it's not something physical that we see in this world. It's nothing like that. The meaning of our right side is our good deeds, and it is the meaning in Arabic that we get for the right side is yameen. Most of you have probably heard this, that the Ashabul Yameen, who are the people of the good. Or it's the good deeds that we get. So you're all thinking this question then. How are the good deeds coming to us and we need protection for them in the hereafter? So for example, if someone reads their salat or their namaz, they start thinking that they have a higher rank than everyone else. When they think that they have a higher rank than everyone else, that's also a danger. It turns into a bad deed, right? And it works against you in your graves. When I'm saying you, I mean me as well, so don't think that I'm on the opposite side or something. So our zakat and our funds that we have in this life are from our left side. And in Arabic it's known as shamal. Those people of the bad deeds. And protect us from gaining haram in this world. Or thinking, for example, at times we think that this money that we have as an income, and we don't give our mali imam, we don't give our khums regarding that, that good deed automatically turns into what? Turns into haram. So let me give you one example. I was giving this to one of the brothers today. That if we give our khums or we give our zakat in the way of Allah, we think that, oh yeah, we're doing such a great job, we're giving it from our own pocket, our own strength. Originally, if we look at it, where does all this rizq, where does all this barakat, where does all this ni'mat come from? It comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? It comes from the Imam of the time. Because as we mentioned in the last few days of Muharram, that everything in this world comes through the Imam of the time. So anything that comes through the Imam of the time, whether that's the energy of our body, whether that's our children, or whether that's our mal, automatically we have duties on it. Exactly like that, one portion of it is that 1/5 of our income we give into khums. So there's one person, he comes to Imam Khomeini just at the beginning of the revolution, and he comes and brings like a big amount of money. He's a millionaire. So he comes to the Imam Khomeini, and he says to him that I want to give my khums. He says, okay. He pulls out the same old checkbook that he gives to every single person, whether he's giving a few pounds or whether he's giving £1 million. So he comes and he puts up all of these millions on the table, and he's thinking to himself, I'm like, I'm the boss here now. So he gives the money, and Imam Khomeini just writes him a receipt, and he says, here you go, thank you very much. When he reaches the doorman, he says that, I can't believe it, I got treated this way. He says, what happened? He says that, I differ slightly from all the other people who give their khums. I mean, I gave quite a bit of khums. So Imam Khomeini heard this, he calls him back, he says, come here. He goes, Aja Putter. Yeah. He calls him back and he says that if this is your money, then take it all back. The man's like, he gets worried, he's like, what's going on here? I mean, I was there with my pride, it broke within seconds. When the Imam asks him, he says that, look, all of this money which you earn, and you have to give your part to the Imam of the time, you have to give that sam, you have to give that 1/5, it's wajib upon you, otherwise the rest of your money will become haram also. You can't feed your kids with it, you can't spend it. Why? Because the haqq of the Imam is on that money. And we're here helping you out. We're taking that money. We have to take that responsibility upon our necks, and we have to give that to the Muslimin, or those who are faqir, those who are in need, or those who are working in the way of Islam. We have to give that money. Who's supposed to thank who? Do I have to thank you? You should be thanking us. At times we think that this mal is ours that we have in this dunya. And these also become dangers for us. So we need protection for that in the hereafter. Then there's a saying of Alama Tabadawi. Please recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ala. That those wishes that a person has in this life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has to protect that person from those also. You might be thinking, how do wishes actually deviate us from the religion? Now, I'm not talking about haram wishes. I'm talking about halal wishes. It makes it even worse and more confusing. That how can one have a halal wish and it can deviate him from the original path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Just one small explanation. That if we have an aim, a halal aim, but it's too far away, and eventually we don't reach that aim, at times we can't even act on our wajibat. I mean, if we reach it, alhamdulillah. But sometimes we are so diverted towards that aim that we forget that there's an Allah, there was a Rasul, there was an Imam, and we have laws of our religion. So these wishes, at times when we have these wishes, it can make us forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And eventually forget that what? That we're going to die. We're going to pass this world and we're going to go on to the next one. Our soul's going to leave this body. And for that reason, these halal wishes at times, we need protection from them also. The third one was Hajj. Protecting ourselves from behind us. One of the points that we'll need protection from in the afterlife. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you all 100 years to live. But one day we have to go. And when we do go, our children and our amal will be left behind. The dangers that our children and our amal in this world, when we leave that behind, that can also cause dangers for us. And definitely it has it has an effect on our soul in the hereafter. So Hajj and Umrah protects us from those children of ours or their amal that they have in this world. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala. And from under our feet, I don't know making this up. This is from a hadith, okay? Once Maulana is just like, I don't know. As I say, the street lang boxing his own lyrics. So from underneath our feet, the dangers that will occur is on the place where we are standing now. And where is that place? It's this dunya. The dunya has a lot of dangers in it also, such as loans, debts. Sometimes a person, he gets these debts and tries to finish them debts off with haram money. Once finish them debts off with haram money, how is that supposed to protect us in the afterlife? But the main condition for all of these protections is that wilayah that we need. Whether that be salat, som, hajj, zakat, or ahsanul a'mal, our good actions. If only we're under the wilayah of the Ahlul Bayt, then our salat will be protected. Then our zakat will be protected. Then our fast will be protected. But if that wilayah isn't there, then the rest of the 5 points or those protections that we need, they won't be there either. When wilayah isn't there, then the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala isn't there. There's no guidance for that person at all. Without a wilayah, we are lost. We don't know the way, which way to go. And these actions are all protected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we look at all these blessings, and we look into the narrations of the Ahlul Bayt, we see the best blessing that we have in this world is the wilayat of the Ahlul Bayt. Allama Majlisi in Biharul Anwar, under the chapter of Tinatu wal Misaq, he explains the batin or the inner self of a human being and those promises that every human being has made to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before he came into this world. And he narrates about 70 promises that every human being has made. At least 30 of these ahadith are sahih, in which he narrates alam wujud or alam zar or alam misaq, in the world that we were before we came into this dunya. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He took this promise from every mu'min. But not just from every mu'min, even from other living species that are within this dunya, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also took their promise as well. And one of those promises which he took from all of them was the wilayat of the Ahlul Bayt and the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. And it is mentioned that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took this promise from every living thing, some of those living things didn't accept that promise. And those animals that accepted this promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon that wilayah, they became sweet. And those who didn't accept that, I'm talking about the animals now. Those that, not the animals, sorry, the plants. So those plants that accepted this wilayah of Amir al-Mu'mineen, they became sweet. And those that didn't became sour and uneatable. And those animals that accepted this wilayah of Amir al-Mu'mineen, they became halal and they were for mu'mineen to eat. And those that were haram, because they did not accept that wilayah. I mean, from our understanding, it's really difficult. But it was also said that some lands accepted that wilayah of Amir al-Mu'mineen, and those lands are different. Whereas those that did not are also different. Whereas when we see land as land. Okay, it might have some fruit, crops or greenery, but it's land for us eventually, isn't it? We can't really see the difference or understand that difference. Like for example, it says that the first land that accepted the wilayah of Amir al-Mu'mineen was in Yemen. And it was a mountain on which now is known for Aqiq Yamani. These are all in the narrations. Marhum ibn Qumi, the Ustad or the teacher of Sheikh Muhfid in Kamil Ziyarat, says that the land of Mecca showed pride that I have the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the land of Karbala replied then, be quiet. For I have the wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is buried inside. And it is mentioned in narrations that not all lands have this capacity to accept a wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be buried in them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless Ayatollah Nokhudri Isfahani. He had a ustad by the name of Aghay Foladi. And before he was about to die, like most of the ulama, when they're about to pass this world, or even mu'mineen, who are really religious, you'll probably seen this, that before they're about to pass this world and they're about to go towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they'll know a few days before or a day before. So Ayatollah, who was the teacher of Ayatollah Nokhudri, they say that just a day or two before he was going to pass away from this world, he told the grave digger to dig up a few graves. He dug up a grave and then he lay down in it and said, no, this place isn't for me. And then he told him to dig up another grave and he said, don't, this one is. After he dug up a few graves and he realized, okay, this is my grave and this is where I will bury it. And in one narration, Sheikh Abbas Qummi, please recite aloud salawat. Second salawat upon Abu Abdullah. Sheikh Abbas Qummi narrates in Mafatih al-Janan, and he says, from our 8th Imam, this riwayat is written, and he heard this from his father, and his father heard this from his father, until it reached our first Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen. And he says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken the promise of our wilayah upon all animals and plants throughout this world. Animals, human beings come under animals, right? As we know in biology. And those who have accepted it have become sweet. And those who have rejected this wilayah have become, as we say, talq in our language, or bitter. And Amir al-Mu'mineen says the same thing to Hazrat Qambar too. He says, those who have accepted this wilayah of ours, whether that be from the skies to the earth, human or any living thing, they become lovers of ours. And whoever rejects this wilayah becomes a khabis. I mean, I don't know if I need to translate like khabis, right? Everyone knows the meaning. So some of them accepted it and some of them did not. The main point I'm trying to get out here is that, was this a freedom of choice from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or was it jabra? Was it something that was enforced upon us mu'mineen? Because some people on the day of judgment, as we read in our riwayat, in our narrations, is that they will complain that why weren't we allowed to become under that supervision of that wilayat, of the Ahlul Bayt. So was this wilayat enforced upon us, or was it a freedom of choice? For if we didn't accept it there, we don't accept it here. As we know that everything that we attain from Alam Izar is to occur here in this dunya. Allama Majlisi in his book of, please recite as-salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allama Majlisi in his Risala, in a chapter which he has 3 chapters in which it's insan, insanu qabla dunya, insanu fit dunya, wa insanu ba'da dunya. So anyone who is before this dunya, his traits or what happened, and anyone who is in this dunya at the moment, at the present, and what will happen after this dunya. So we all travelers in this dunya. We know that we have a final destination. But my point will be totally referring to this chapter of Alama Tabadabai, and when he mentions Insanu Qabla Dunya. Just a few minutes, and then inshallah we can go into the Masaib. And he says it's due to this choice of what we made in Qabla Dunya, what we are in Fit Dunya, what we are doing in this dunya right now. And whether we are a mu'min or whether we aren't a mu'min. And it's this freedom of choice that allowed us to make this choice. And it is with these results of this choice what we will have in this world, exactly how we make our choices here, and what it will result in the hereafter. Now, I don't want you to get this idea that in Alam Azar it was something like, or the world before was something like reincarnation as our Hindu brothers and sisters do. Because they believe it was a total different world, and then there was an animal, I don't know, someone was a frog and someone was a bunny, and then after that you become something else. Or I don't want you guys to think that it was something like as if though we're living in this life right now, and you guys are living in South London, I'm living in West London. No, there's no South London, West London. Because for at times, you get this example from elders as well, and say that I feel like I've been to this place before. You get this feeling at times that I've traveled somewhere, but it feels like it's not my first time. I've actually been here before. And they say, no, Baba, it was in Alam Azar that you had already visited this place. Whereas in reality, it's probably, seen a dream and you've forgotten about it. I mean, I can't remember any of my dreams from the last 20 years. But they say you do have dreams. So Khwaja Abdul Ansari says that he says about everyone, he says that people are scared of what they will go through in this life and what they might act upon. And they're scared of that. He says, but I'm scared of what promise I made to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before I came into this world. The difference between us and non-Muslims is that we accepted that wilayah. We said that promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yes, we will accept this wilayah of your ma'soom. Now the difference between mu'min and mu'min, we get that at times as well. Like for example, the difference between us and the 72 shuhada of Karbala who were with Imam on the day of Ashura. The only difference is that when they made that promise, they quickly responded. Whereas people like us, maybe, we delayed in replying to that promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the difference is how quickly and slowly we made that promise of accepting this wilayah of Amir al-Mu'mineen. It is narrated from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. It is narrated that if anybody reads this dua of ahd, because promise is ahd, right? If anybody reads this dua ahd, which we mostly read, for 40 days it becomes a true follower of the Imam of the time. And if they pass away from this world, they'll become a true follower of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and a true mu'min and a true soldier of the Imam. But the point here is that when we read this dua ahd, we're making this promise to the Imam of the time. you're actually reverting to your original promise. Like as we say nowadays, before we used to say, "Oh, do you know this brother who has become Muslim?" But now actually we're using that term reverted. Why? Because originally Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had made him a mu'min. As we say in Dua Ahad, Allahumma inni ujaddidu lahu fi yawmi haza wa ma ishtu min ayyami ahadan wa aqdan wa bay'atan. Oh Allah, on this morning I am renewing my promise so that I don't forget my original promise. This is our main fundamentals, and this is how we have become a mu'min. At times we think that, oh, it's just by coincidence that we become mu'min. Or it was like a good chance, like the England and Spain match that they had just yesterday, I think it was. We need to acknowledge these blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Imam Qasim alayhi salam when Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, our sixth Imam, please recite aloud salawat. Went into the masjid to read his Zohar prayers. He left his servant outside to take care of his horse. So he leaves his servant outside and says to him that, take care of my horse. I'm just going to read namaz and I'll be outside. During that time, a ashab of the Imam, he came from Khurasan. And when he comes from Khurasan, he sees that the servant of the Imam is standing outside and holding on to his horse. So he gives him some advice. He says that, you know, because you're the khadim of the Imam, you've become old now, and let me take you over your job. I'll give you a really good high amount, and you can start your own life and give me this job so that I can attain some blessings too. So this servant, he says, okay, that's fine. Let me go and just ask the Imam from inside. He goes to the Imam and he asks him, he says that, oh Imam, would you be happy if anyone was to give me a lot of barakat and a lot of rizq? Imam says, yeah, sure, I'll be really happy. He says, okay, so I have this chance, even though, you know, Imam, I've gone a bit old, and let me go and take this money, and inshallah, let me go and enjoy the rest of my life. So he's about to go and make his deal with this person that's come from Khurasan, and the Imam says to him, just one last thing I want to mention to you. The Imam says to him that, do you know all the ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all the rahmaniyat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was blessed upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And after that, it came upon the Ahlul Bayt. And now we have that blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we give it to mu'mineen. So we understood the deal that I'm making, it's not worth it. So he returns to this Khurasani person and he says that you can keep this money of yours, and even if you was to give me all the money in the world, I would still not accept it, and I would never leave this ark of salvation and the Ahlul Bayt. He says, for these Ahlul Bayt have all the blessings in the world. Little money, at times we forget. So there's one more example I'd like to finish off with, that you've mostly probably heard this example, that when one poor person, a faqir, he comes to our sixth Imam and he says that, oh Imam, I'm really, really poor. He says to the Imam, I'm really, really poor. And the Imam replies to him and he says that you're not poor. Then he replies again, he says, I am poor. Imam says to him, if you was to give up everything in your life for our love, would you do it? And he says, yes. He says, see, you're not poor. You're one of the richest people because you have that love for the Ahlul Bayt. Now, the second part of the hadith, this is the part that is not mostly mentioned. The Imam, he says to him that you will realize this love. And he says, لَقَدْ كُنْتُ عَمْرِ الْحَسَنِ. That you will say, how happy am I when I had this love of the Ahlul Bayt. So the main part in this hadith is that when the Imam tells him this, he holds his throat. Like this, he puts his hand towards his throat, his own throat. He doesn't grab the person's. And he says that when your life is leaving your body from here, that is when you will realize that this love of ours was worth it. Allahumma salli. You know, at times when you see elder people and they're passing away from this world, and you'll see that in the last few days when the doctors have given you the reply that no, your parents or your elders, grandparents are about to pass away from this world, you'll see within them 3 days there's some ajib kind of actions that, or a phase that your elders are going through. They'll either meet relatives that have passed away, mu'mineen from this world, have passed away, and they're coming to meet them, and they'll be like, I just met so-and-so who has passed away from this. You know that person has passed away. So you kind of get the picture that the time is up. We had one of our relatives, an elder relatives, who in her last few days, she was a real mu'minah. May Allah bless her soul. In her last few days, she would always read these majalis and zikr of Imam Hussain. Throughout her life, she was always reading poetry and qasida and manqabat. So just like an hour or two before she was going to pass away from this world, she sits up straight and she puts on her scarf and she starts cleaning the bed sheets. And she says to everyone, move away, make way for the holy lady. She's coming to sit. I want her to sit here. And you've seen this action in mu'mineen. And that's when I really understood the meaning of this hadith, when our Imam, sixth Imam, says that you will realize this blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and your love towards the Ahlul Bayt when your soul is about to leave your body and it reaches here. And this is the reality of when we will really understand those blessings of that wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bihaqqi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad accept this small ibadah in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bihaqqi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad allow us all to act and act upon that promise that we made to the Ahlul Bayt in Alam Izar. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us true followers of Abu Abdullah. May we all be a party, may we all be a part of the army of the Imam of the time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help all those oppressed throughout the world, especially those in Yemen and Palestine. Please recite aloud. Salawat ala Muhammad. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Sallallahu alayka ya ibna Rasulullah. Tonight we have come to pay our respects to that small 6 months baby of Abba Abdullah. On the day of Ashra, after every single companion was martyred, after Ali Akbar laid on the sands of Karbala, Abba Abdullah was left alone in the face of 30,000 from the army of Yazid. He calls out, Hal min nasir yansurni. Is there anyone to help me? No one responded to the call of the Imam. Everybody has become shaheed. But there was a cry, a small cry of a baby from the camp of the women of Hussaini. When the Imam reaches to the camp, he says, "Oh Zainab, I'm still alive. Why are you crying?" She says, "Oh Abba Abdullah, ever since you called down Hal min nasir yansurni, Ali Asghar has thrown himself from the cradle to the ground. Baap, the mother of Ali Asghar, was holding Ali Asghar in her hands. Oh my Imam, if you must go to the battlefield, then do so. But before you go, get some water for Ali Asghar." The Imam picks up Ali Asghar. He whispers something into his ears. Ali Asghar stops crying and begins to smile. I didn't know what the Imam must have said to this baby to make him stop crying in that heat. The Imam comes to the battlefield holding his baby Ali Asghar, his head resting on his shoulder of his father. From behind there's a mother watching from the tents of Abdullah. If you don't give this child any water, he'll die of thirst. He lifts him higher to the sky so that the soldiers at the back of the army of Yazid can see him. Don't you see that this child needs water? Oh people, if you don't show mercy to me, then at least show mercy to this child who is dying of thirst. Some of the men from the army even began to cry when they had seen this child dying for thirst. The enemies said themselves, if there's a moment we became emotional for Abba Abdullah, it was when he brought his 6-month-old child to the battlefield. Until Umar ibn Saad looks at Harmala and says to him, "What are you waiting for? Finish the job, kill this child." He decides he'll use a 3-headed spear. Dear brothers and sisters, I don't want you to burn your hearts too much. Just know that this was a three-headed arrow. Abba Abdullah is still holding the child, waiting to quench the thirst of Ali Asghar. But they choose to give him arrow instead of water. Ali Asghar turns his face for the last time towards his father. He sees Ali Asghar smiling. He sees Ali Asghar smiling at his father for the last time. Abba Abdullah says, "Oh my baby Ali, this smile of yours has melted my heart. Some of the soldiers ask if you're not going to give water, why would you shoot an arrow? How much water does this child need?" Armala fires the arrow and hits Ali Asghar. They say according to narrations, how you take a fish out of water and it trembles. The body of Ali Asghar trembled in the hands of Abba Abdullah. Hussain walks back and forth. Hussain says, "What should I say to Rubab?" Hussain says, "What shall I say to Zainab? What shall I say to Ruqayya?" Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Sallallahu alayka ya Abd Rasulullah. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Matam Hussaini.
Ya Hussain,
Hussein,
Ya Hussain,
Ya Hussein, 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 Ya Hussein.
अकबर मेरा शहर ये वाला अकबर अकबर मेरा शहर ये वाला अकबर अकबर मेरा शहर ये वाला अकबर अकबर मेरा शहर ये वाला लाश अकबर पे शाह जब पहुँचे दिल को हाथों से थाम कर बोले तेरी फुरकत ने आली अकबर आग दिल में मेरे लगा दी है आग दिल की बुझाऊं मैं कैसे आग दिल की बुझाऊं मैं कैसे तेरा लाशा उठाऊं मैं कैसे अकबर मेरा शहर ये वाला अकबर अकबर मेरा शहर ये वाला तू ही करिया जवान बेटा बाप तेरा ज़ईफ़ है कितना नूरों को कहोगे यार रुखसत मुझको आता नहीं नजर क़ैमा लेके ख़ैमों में जाऊं मैं कैसे के खेमों में जाऊं मैं कैसे, तेरा लाशा उठाऊं मैं कैसे अकबर, मेरा शहरी वाला अकबर अकबर, मेरा शहरी वाला जिसने अठारह पाला था, कैसे देखेंगे वो तेरा लाशा, तेरी शादी का ताज से अरमान कैसे जलेंगे वो तेरा सदमा, तेरी माँ को बताऊं मैं कैसे, तेरी माँ को बताओ मैं कैसे, तेरा लाशा उठाऊं मैं कैसे अकबर, मेरा शहरी वाला अकबर अकबर, मेरा शहरी वाला देखा यार कसीदे सुगरा, राह तकती है वो दुखी बहना, तुझको बीमार ने बुलाया है, वादा सुगरा का क्यों बुला डाला, गम ये दिल से लगाऊं मैं कैसे, गम ये दिल से लगाऊं मैं कैसे, तेरा लाशा उठाऊं मैं कैसे अकबर, मेरा शहरी वाला अकबर अकबर, मेरा शहरी वाला अकबर अकबर, मेरा शहरी वाला अकबर।
ये सदा देती है ज़ैनब मेरे जानी अब्बास, ये सदा देती है ज़ैनब मेरे जानी अब्बास, ये सदा देती है ज़ैनब मेरे जानी अब्बास, हो कहाँ तुम मेरे बाबा की नशानी अब्बास, ये सदा देती है ज़ैनब अब्बास, ये सदा देती है ज़ैनब मेरे अब्बास, तुम जो दरिया पे गए आए न वापस अब्बास, तुम जो दरिया पे गए आए न वापस अब्बास, कौन अब लेगा खबर हो न वापस अब्बास, तुमसे कहती है ये ज़हरा, तुमसे कहती है ये ज़हरा की नशानी अब्बास, ये सदा देती है ज़ैनब मेरे जानी अब्बास, ये सदा देती है जानी अब्बास, मुंतज़र दर पे तुम्हारी है सकीना अब्बास, मुंतज़र दर पे तुम्हारी है सकीना अब्बास, और बच्चों को भी देती है दिलासा अब्बास, अब चचाएंगे अब चचाएंगे अब आएगा पानी अब्बास, ये सदा देती है ज़ैनब जानी अब्बास, ये सदा दे मेरे जानी अब्बास, साथ छूटा है तो रोती है सकीना अब्बास, हर कदम पर यही कहती है सकीना अब्बास, लौट आओ नहीं अब, लौट आओ नहीं अब ख्वाहिश पानी अब्बास, ये सदा देती है ज़ैनब अब्बास, ये सदा देती है ज़ैनब अब्बास कैसे कैसे है सितम और सकीना अब्बास कैसे कैसे है सितम और सकीना अब्बास गमज़दा जाएगी दुनिया से सकीना अब्बास अब पलट आओ मेरे हैदर सानी अब्बास ये सदा देती है ज़ना मेरे जानी अब्बास ये सदा देती है ज़ना मेरे जानी
पास रखा हुसैना, पास रखा हुसैना, सदल वेदा हुसैना, ज़ैनब बसीरे आदा, शुद्ध पिदर सकीना, पास रखा हुसैना, पास रखा हुसैना, पास रखा हुसैना, या अली